Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 3rd of May and I welcome you to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles along with their background as well as the way forward along with the conceptual aspect also. And I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this entire session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, starting up and first of all, let's see overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here, moving on. So guys, on the first page, Bilkis Bano case convicts playing for time Supreme Court judge. Okay, so guys, we have seen this thing that the Bilkis Bano in the Bilkis Bano rape case, there were the convicted who were released, and on that particular matter, this particular case is going on. Okay, now guys, understand this particular thing that you are not required to track the basically the case as it is going on, the comments that are being passed and all such kind of things. Okay, then further moving on, after that government extends date to opt for higher EPF pension to June 26. Okay, then further moving on in this particular direction, guys, here we see this thing. Yes, further moving on, Pawar steps down as NCP chief, not important article with respect to the examination. And then guys, in gig economy, lesser pay is better than no pay. We will see this particular article. Moreover, on this particular line, there is one particular article that has come in the text and the context page also, so we will take that. Then further moving on, coming to the regional city section. Okay, here basically there are the regional issues, etc. Fine crime related, law and order related issues that have been there, not important for examination. And then again we have these tenders, advertisements, etc. that are there, so no need to go here. Fine. So moving on, guys, the advertisements, political news are largely here. So we will directly reach to editorial section. Now in editorial, the first article is talking about the LSE crisis and the danger of losing without fighting. We will see that if the article is important. Long week, communal politics, welfare measures dominate the Karnataka campaign. So the article is talking about that what is the BJP's, what is the Congress's uh, policies with respect to the Karnataka, freebies, fine, communal politics and all such kind of things. For examination, much important substance has not been there in this article. Then further moving on, is India's add-on offer the apple of diluted labor laws? We'll take this particular article for the examination. Then a good divorce. So this article is talking about the recent Supreme Court judgment where Supreme Court has provided that immediate divorces can be given. We will see. Even yesterday also this article has come in newspaper. Then further moving on, outlawing India's tech tariff. We'll see this particular article for examination. The upper caste outreach in a Dawn's release. Okay, guys, understand the article is containing largely the political references, not important for your examination, so no need to go too much in detail. Communal tension increased during Ram Navami report shows. So basically it shows that how many number of clashes have happened over the years 2010, 15, 19, 23. Fine, all these things. Then coming to the text and context, why are Blinkit workers protesting? We'll see this particular article, and we will also see that with respect to the labor laws, what type of protection, etc. they have. Then further, the Golden Globe race. So we will see what is this Golden Globe race and why it was recently in the news for the prelims examination. We can see that. Then de-dollarization. So we will understand this de-dollarization and this article also we will take. Then further, central plans panel to find alternative to death by hanging. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the capital punishment, the death penalty, it has always been an ethical as well as a controversial topic. There are the concerns that whether a country should be given the death penalty. Now in this capacity, many of the European countries have abolished, most of the European countries have abolished the death penalty. But when we talk about India, India gives the death penalty in the rarest of the rare cases. Okay, and that will be defined by the Supreme Court on the case by case basis. One thing. Second thing that comes here is that, that if death penalty is to be given, that we need to find that particular way which is the most basically the pay way where there is less and less torture, less and less pain that is involved. Right now, when we talk about the death penalty, it is given by hanging. Some countries give it by administering some lethal substance, etc. Now, many number of times it has been said that when the death penalty is concerned, a person is when a person is hanged for many minutes and sometimes even up to 15-20 minutes, that particular person suffers. So, can there be any some more humane way of doing this particular thing? Can there be any alternative? So that particular thing will be seen. Then further moving on after that. Uh, we have Rajnath Singh hand over 2 naval vessels to the Maldivian defense forces. So, guys, here we see that the neighborhood of India, fine, how India is helping the Maldives. Okay, so when we talk about India, India always had held the neighborhood first policy, and in this neighborhood first policy, India also aims to become the net security provider of our neighborhood. Okay, so to the Maldivian defense forces, the naval vessels have been given in this direction. Then further moving on, Karnataka ranked as the most innovative state in the manufacturing category. Okay, so basically, then further, China, Russia, Pakistan minister student SCO meet in Goa. So basically, guys, already we have seen just day before yesterday also that India has become the SCO chair. India has the chair of the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, for 2023, and under that, India will host the ministers of the SCO countries, and the Pakistan, Russia, China's defense minister will be attending it. Okay, then further moving on in this particular direction, guys. Karnataka polls not very much important for the exam. Okay, then we have this world page. Fine, Ranil renews vow to resolve Sri Lanka's ethnic question. Prominent Palestinians on hunger strike, ties in Israeli custody. Okay, basically the articles are just containing the evolutionary details, not that much important for the examination. Okay, Taiwan unsure of nations that will help if war breaks out. So basically, we have seen that in the past few months, the confrontation between the China and Taiwan has increased considerably. Okay, and China, see, always considers Taiwan as a part of a mainland China only, and China also maintains the one China principle and has provided that one day China will acquire Taiwan. Okay, even if they need force, they will do that particular thing. So basically now, guys, what has actually has happened, the confrontations between China and Taiwan are increasing, particularly because of the high level visits from the USA that had happened to the Taiwan, fine, and all such kind of things. So Taiwan is not sure that which countries will help if China tries to acquire Taiwan if the war breaks out between these two countries. Gaming policy, tax norms need more calibration. We'll see this article. UK Bank posted record net in financial 23. Then these trends, etc., corporate trends, etc., we have, not important. And after that, we have this sports page. Okay, so this is, guys, all about overview of entire newspaper. And now let's discuss all the relevant articles for examination in one by one, in detail. Now, starting up. So, guys, let's take the first of all GS quotation. So this GS quotation we take in every session to uh, in this GS quotation we take in every session, and these quotations can be used to complement our answers in GS 1, 2, 3, 4, and even in essay. So today we'll take the quotation. Just a minute, I think there is some issue that has happened. Okay, just a minute, guys. I think there is some issue that has happened. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, guys. So let's take with the newspaper detailed discussion. So there was some issue that came there. Now let's start with it. So in every class we take a GS quotation, and today we are going to take quotation from Alfred Adler. From Alfred Adler. So Alfred Adler says, empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. Now, when we talk about empathy, empathy is a very important value that is important for our GS paper number 4, ethics, and it has been given there in the syllabus also. Now, what do we understand by empathy? Empathy is when you see or when you feel, when you understand the pain of another person, the suffering of another person, that is empathy. and how you can feel empathy, how you can understand their pain only when you see with their eyes, you see with their perspective, then you'll be able to understand their pain. When you listen with the ears, okay, and when you feel with the heart of another people, what they are feeling, what they are hearing, what they are experiencing, when you will be able to step in their shoes, you will be able to understand the empathy. Okay, so this quotation has been given by the Alfred Adler, and this quotation can be used for GS paper number 4 ethics. Fine. Now moving on. And let's take the first article. So guys, the first article that we are going to take is about the de-dollarization. De-dollarization, the race to attain the status of global reserve currency. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to international affairs. Now, first of all, this word de-dollarization has come lot in the news. Okay, and on these keywords also, the questions actually have been asked in the prelims examination. So what is this de-dollarization? It becomes important for prelims examination as well. So basically, right now guys, you might be knowing this particular thing, that we have a currency in which the majority of international trade is happening, and that currency is dollar. And here comes the concept of the global reserve currency. Now global reserve currency is that currency in which majority of international trade is happening, that currency which is majorly accepted for the import and export payments, and that global reserve currency today is US dollar. But now the world countries are trying to replace this US dollar as the global reserve currency. And who is the next contender in this particular line? The Chinese yuan is the next contender in this particular line. Now, first of all, you need to understand this thing, that why countries want to replace a dollar as the global reserve currency. Now, it is because of the fact that actually USA has shown an attitude of a hegemon, and often they have tried to use their dominance, that their currency is being used in international trade. Now, understand that what actually happened 1 year back, Russia-Ukraine war started. 1 year back, Russia-Ukraine war got started. Now, the West USA accuses that Russia is chiefly responsible in this Russia-Ukraine war, and USA doesn't want that any money should go to the Russia, because Russia will then use that particular money for financing the war. Now, understand this thing: Russia is a country which is the major exporter of the crude oil, and many countries are buying substantial amount of crude oil from Russia. Many countries are buying the other minerals from Russia, they are buying the weaponry from Russia, and many such kind of goods. Now, USA has imposed sanctions on the Russia, and it has also said that the other countries should not trade, should not transact with Russia. Now, in this particular capacity, USA had said that the US dollar should not be used for purchasing the oil and other goods from Russia. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we are buying goods from Russia, or even when we are buying goods from any other country, we are paying dollars, and every dollar transaction has to be cleared by the American banks. They are cleared by the American banks. And understand this particular thing, by this particular way, America is giving an insight that where dollar is being transacted, and therefore if any dollar is going to the Russia, USA doesn't allows that particular thing. Moreover, Russia was also banned from the SWIFT network. What is a SWIFT? Guys, understand this thing. What is a SWIFT? SWIFT is a secured messaging platform by which the financial institutions share information, by which financial institutions authenticate transaction. So Russia has been banned from here also, using the dollar when Russia trade is being done. There also the USA has done that particular thing. Now, by this particular thing, countries are seeing that what USA is doing, USA is going for the weaponization of dollar. USA is going for the weaponization of dollar. They are using their currency as a kind of a weapon. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that USA can do the similar thing in the context of another country also. So the countries are expecting that we should also have some alternative currencies that are accepted at the global scale, so that the USA cannot go for the weaponization of dollar as it has done in the case of Russia. So therefore de-dollarization trend is becoming very, very prominent here. Okay, now guys, understand this thing, that when we talk about the de-dollarization, can it happen or it cannot happen? This dimension also we need to understand. Now, first thing is that, first of all, guys, understand that currency, which currency will be, why dollar is so much freely accepted? It is because the people have faith in dollar. Why people have faith in the dollar? Because USA's economy is the one which is most stable one. USA's economy is one which has a lot of huge broad base. So people, countries, traders, they all have a confidence in the US dollar that it is going to be the most stable economy. So therefore people freely accept the US dollar. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about India and Russia, basically few months back, rupee ruble arrangement was signed between Russia and India. Rupee ruble arrangement. Now what is this rupee ruble arrangement? Let me explain you this particular thing. Here we have Russia, here we have India. Now Russia is exporting oil to India. Now India obviously need to pay money to Russia. Now what India will do? India will pay rupees. India will pay rupees to Russia. Now Russia, what Russia can do? See, Russia is also importing goods. Russia is exporting goods to India and Russia is importing goods from India also. So Russia will use this rupee to make the payments while they are importing the goods from India. Suppose Russia imports from India the Patanjali's products. Russia imports from India, let's say wheat, etc. So they can use the same rupee. Is it clear or not? So this is rupee ruble arrangement. Let's say, let's say Russia sold oil to India and India has to pay 100 rupees. India paid 100 rupees. Now Russia is buying, let's say, Patanjali products from India and Russia now needs to pay 150 rupees. Now 100 rupees Russia can pay in terms of rupee that it has already received and 50 rupees it can pay in terms of the ruble. Then the same ruble India will give to Russia when India will buy something. So this is a way by which they have tried to replace the dollar. This is the way by which they have tried to replace the dollar. But actually this has brought a very big problem in the context of Russia and India trade. Why? Because guys, when we talk about Russia, Russia is selling a lot of oil to India and in turn India had paid a lot of rupee to Russia. Now Russia has so much of rupee currency, but now understand, Russia and India, they have always a current, most of the time they have a current deficit. Okay, they have a deficit. It means Russia is exporting more, but Russia is importing less. So Russia will always have the excess rupee. Where to use that particular excess rupee? Rupee is not that much freely acceptable by the other countries. So Russia is struck with a lot of rupee which they cannot use. And because of this particular thing, Russia is now saying that let's again switch back to the US dollar. Let's identify a way that how again we can switch back to the US dollar. So this is certain issue that has come in this particular direction. So guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the global reserve currency, this is those currencies which has been accepted widely by the entire world. And which countries will be widely accepted? Only those currencies of the countries which have become economic superpower, because in the economic superpower the world countries have faith that their economy is not going to dwindle. In the past, when Britain was the superpower, the pound was the currency which was globally acceptable. Today it is USA. Tomorrow, let's say if some other country becomes a superpower, that country will become acceptable. So de-dollarization, though countries are moving towards that particular thing, but will that actually be helpful or not? We need to see it. Now, moving to the next article, why are Blinkit workers protesting? Why are Blinkit workers protesting? Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, labor issues or issues related to the labor. Now, so guys, understand this particular thing, that recently you might have read into the news that Blinkit, which is 10-minute grocery delivery app, their workers have went on protest, and because of that they are not delivering the goods. There is a strike that is going on in Blinkit. Now first of all guys, understand that when we talk about the workers working in Blinkit, Zomato, Swiggy, etc., they are called as the gig workers. Now this gig workers, this terminology have come many number of times in the news. Even I have explained it to you, I think in 3-4 times in the past 10-12 days. Again this article has come. And the same, what are gig workers? Gig workers are those workers which don't have a formal or a traditional relation with their employees, okay, employers. Now understand this thing. Suppose I am an employee and I have an employer. Now that employer will pay me salary and I will be working for that employer. Okay. But in gig workers, what will happen? The relation is per assignment basis. The relation is per assignment basis. So my employer will give me work, I will complete that work, and on that assignment, some money will be given to me. Okay. Now when we talk about these Blinkit workers, Swiggy workers, Zomato workers, what is happening? They deliver one order and in turn of that order, they are given some kind of commission. Okay. So when we talk about gig workers, it refers to those workers which are outside the traditional employer-employee relation. There will be no formal, there will be no specific payroll that will be given. Payment will be given on an assignment basis. They are free to work at other places also at the same time. Okay. Now, when we talk about the gig workers, within the gig workers, there are two type of worker. One are the platform workers and other are non-platform workers. Platform workers are those which are getting the assignment, which are getting the work on the basis of a basis of app, on the basis of platform, on the basis of some online algorithmic matching. Now, for example, I drive taxi on Ola or I drive taxi on Uber. What will happen? On that application, I will receive a request that somebody needs a cab and I will go that. So there is an online program that is matching the supplier and the one who demands the service. Okay, so these people who are getting work from platform, they are getting called as the online platform gig workers. And then there are the non-platform workers also. For example, guys, many people are there who do some manual labor work. They are hired for some amount of work. But there, what I am doing, I am going physically to a place where the laborers have accumulated and I am getting the help of 2-3 laborers. So this is also a kind of a gig work. For example, if you want to do some construction in your house, and this is a small kind of a construction, what you will do, you will go to a place where there are some laborers who have accumulated. You will call 2-3 laborers and you will say that, okay, this work is to be given, this work, sorry, is to be done, and I will pay you this X amount of money. So that is also the gig worker, but that they are getting work without the help of a platform. Say are the non-platform workers. It includes construction workers and many such kind of temporary workers that people take help of. Now, when we talk about the gig workers, guys, understand this thing. Whether the gig workers should be categorized as employees or whether the gig worker should be categorized as an independent contractors, that actually has become a kind of an issue. Now, if they will be categorized as employees, for example, Blinkit workers, are the employees of Blinkit? Zomato workers are the employees of the Zomato? If they are categorized as employees, then they will get many benefits. For example, they will get the protection under Minimum Wages Act. They get Employee Provident Fund under the EPF, under the Payment of Bonus Act. They will get a lot of benefits. But actually, as they are the gig workers, they cannot be categorized as the full-time employees. So sometimes they are also categorized as the contract laborers. Now, if they are contract laborers, then also they will get many protections which are given under the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act 1970. And under this Contract Labor Act of 1970, the contract laborers, fine, they will get the provident fund benefits. So are they contract workers or they are employees? Now the question, now first of all, it is clear that they are not employees, but they don't also fit in the category of the contract workers also. So actually, what benefits will be available to them, what benefits will not be available to them, this is a very big debate. Now what these Zomato, Swiggy, they are doing, they are registering these delivery agents, these people as the partners. Now partners means that they are a separate business entity. Zomato is a separate business entity. Zomato is giving them some work. They are the partners of Zomato. And in this way, a lot of social security benefit has not to be given to them. Okay. So by this, a lot of responsibilities are being evaded by these particular kind of platforms. Now, guys, understand this thing. Recently, why these Blinkit strikes have started? These strikes have started. Why? Because the new payment structure has been released by Blinkit. So earlier they were being paid a minimum payout of around 25 rupees. Now it has to be slashed to around 15 rupees, and per kilometer basis also they will be paid. Now, when these Blinkit people are delivering the groceries, now they deliver in just range of 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometer, 500 meters. So point is that the actual amount of money that they will make now after this new payment structure will be very much less, and other social security benefits are also not being given. Now, this is something which has happened in the past also. For example, the Swiggy in the past also reduced their payment structure. Now, to give the protection to these platform workers, what actually has happened in India till now? So, till now, the Ministry of Labor and Employment actually introduced the Code of Social Security. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that as we talk about the laborers in India, fine, in order to give the protection to the laborers recently, or in order to give the protection to the workers, recently, Government of India had come out with the 4 labor codes. Understand this thing. Earlier, there were more than 44 labor bills that were there. They have been merged in these simplified 4 labor codes. And these 4 labor codes are: number 1, the code on wages; number 2, the code on social security; number 3, occupational safety, health and working condition code; and number 4 is industrial relation code. So these are the 4 codes: industrial relation code, code on occupational safety, health and working condition, the code on social security, and code on wages. So wages, social security, industrial relation, health, safety, these are the 4 codes. Now, when we talk about the code on social security, here the gig workers have been included. And this particular code provides that central and state government should come out with the social security schemes for the gig workers. They should be given the maternity benefit, they should be given health benefit, they should be given provident fund, they should also be given the accidental benefit if in case they met with an accident. So the code on social security had to provide with this particular thing. But one more issue you need to understand, that these benefits are to be given to them, but they are not right on the workers. It means that worker cannot go to the court and can ask these particular things. It is on the wishes of the corporate. It is there. If government comes out with the scheme, they don't have any right. Moreover, when we talk about the total 4 labor codes that we have, the gig workers are finding reference only in the code on social security. They don't have the reference. Their mention is not there in the minimum wage code. Their reference is not there in the occupational safety code. In industrial relation code, they are not mentioned. Now see, if they are not mentioned in minimum wage, it means that any payment can be given to them. Fine. Occupational safety, so with respect to their safety, with respect to their mental well-being, health well-being, company will not have take any responsibility. And they are also not mentioned into the industrial relation code. As they are not also mentioned into the industrial relation code, they cannot form trade union. These trade unions are not recognized. All these particular issues have actually come. All these particular issues are actually have come now. So these are, guys, all the issues pertaining to the laborers, fine, platform workers, gig workers. Now understand, this actually has become a very important dimension, and a question on this particular line in GS paper number 3 is highly expected. So prepare this topic well. Fine. That is all, guys, about it. Now moving to the next article. The Golden Globe Race. The Golden Globe Race. The Voyage of Mad Men. Now, guys, understand, for the prelims examination, we'll understand that what is this Golden Globe Race. But you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article. Why? I will explain that particular thing also. So basically, guys, when we talk about the Golden Globe Race, so Golden Globe Race, it is a non-stop, solo, unassisted yacht race around the world. So basically what happens, a person will take a boat, and on that particular boat a particular person will navigate the entire world solo means that no other person will be there with that. Now understand, this Golden Globe Race for the first time was held in 1968-69. Okay, and now what has happened recently, the Golden Globe Race 2022 was held. Now understand, in this Golden Globe Race there is very important, see, there are some restrictions that are there. Number 1, this particular race is to be taken in the same manner as the races were taken in 1968-69. At that point of a time, GPS technology was not there. At that time, many digital equipments was not there. So what technology was there at that point of a time? Only those technologies can be used. It means they have to use the paper charts, they have to use the other compass, etc., that were there at that point of a time. So digital technologies cannot be used. This race will be a non-stop race, it will be a solo race, it will be an unassisted race. Is it clear or not? So pre-modern specifications are, or pre-modern technologies are also that can be, only they can be used. So recently what has happened, Abhilash Tomy, who is the former commander in the Indian Navy, he has completed this Golden Globe Race 2022 and he came second in this particular race. Actually, when this particular race started, there were the 11 contestants, 11 contestants that were there when this particular race got started, but out of that only 3 were able to continue, were able to complete this race, and out of that, Mr. Abhilash Tomy was at the second place. Now, Mr. Abhilash Tomy has also done the solo navigation earlier also around 2013, and now in the Golden Globe race he had come second, which is a moment of pride for India. It is the moment of pride for India. Now, one more thing, guys, you need to understand that, see, within the article, the personal story that, okay, he got injured, then he prepared, then his ship met with an accident, and all these things are being provided. If you want, for your personal interest, you can read it, but for examination, beyond that, nothing more important is there in this particular article. So that is all. And now we'll move to the next article. Now we'll move to the next article. A good divorce. A good divorce. Now, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 1, social issues, social issues. Now, first of all, guys, if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, yesterday already we have taken up this particular article. Now, what this particular article is all about? Now, here there is one line that is given. Not all marriages are happy. Not all divorces are unhappy. Not all marriages are happy. Not all divorces are unhappy. Now, understand this thing, guys, that when two people have married, there is a possibility that at times their marriage might not work. There might not be the compatibility between these two people, and then they go for divorce. Now, as we talk about the divorce in the present times, when we talk about the divorce, so before giving the divorce, the local court requires the husband and wife to test that whether they can make their marriage rework, and they are given that, okay, they should try to live together for the period of 6 to 18 months, and they should try to rework their marriage, try to solve some misunderstandings that have been there. So before they get the divorce, they have to live together for the period of 6 to 18 months. Only after that they are given the divorce. Now, Supreme Court has ruled on this particular thing, and Supreme Court had said that some marriages are beyond repair. Some marriages have turned in so much of the toxic relation that there is no possibility that this institution will recoup this relation will revive. So in those cases, instant divorce can be given. And Supreme Court had said that they will use the power given under Article 142. Now, what is Article 142? Under Article 142, Supreme Court can issue any order, can issue any decree in order to do complete justice. So Supreme Court had said that if there is some marriage which has went beyond repair, we can give the immediate divorce without letting them to wait for this 6 to 18 months. This is something that has been provided. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the Hindu Marriage Act, under Hindu Marriage Act, fine, basically under Hindu Marriage Act, this ground, fine, the ground to revoke these marriages, it was not there, and now the Supreme Court has allowed it. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that what is the logic and whether this particular ruling is good or not. Understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the institution of marriage in India, marriage happens to be one of the most important social institution, and this institution is attached with a kind of a sacredness, it is attached with a kind of a reverence, and it is believed that this institution should not break. So therefore all the efforts are made, but in this we forget we forget the individualism, we forget those two people who are bound in this toxic relation. When people are not able to work out, let them get separated. Why to wait 6 months, 18 months? Many number of times women, when they are in abusive relation, for this extended period also, they bear the sexual assault, physical assault by their husbands. So giving immediate divorce, it is something which recognizes the individualism of the people involved here. Moreover, it has also been said that, guys, if we talk about the divorces in India, they are not that much high. The divorce rate in India is just 1.1%, which is not that much high, and even this 1.1% divorce rate is majorly in the urban areas. Now, understand this thing, guys, that actually, though divorces are not that much high, just 1.1%, but census 2011 revealed that population which is separated is almost triple the divorce number. So many women, they are just separated, they are not living with their husband, but they also not have gotten the divorce. So the toxic relations exist, and recognizing these toxic relations and giving the immediate divorce is something that should be done. Okay, now moving to the next article, outlawing India's tech tariff. Outlawing India's tech tariff. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, issues related to the international trade. Now basically guys, first of all, you are not required to go in too much in detail in this particular article. Why? Because article has been actually written in too much of a technical tone on which questions are not asked into the exam. So in GS paper 3, the UPSC exam, the questions which are being asked, they are very broad. So much of a technical details are not asked. But let me explain you still. So basically guys, what actually has happened recently, European Union, Japan, Taiwan, fine, they have filed a complaint against India. They have filed the complaint against the India. Why? Because it is being said that India is imposing high tariffs on information and communication technology products, ICT products. Now understand this thing, information communication technology products, we are importing many equipments from China, Taiwan, which are being used in telephone, computers, etc. So we impose high tariffs. This is the charge that have been levied by European Union, Japan, Taiwan, etc. And this matter has reached to the WTO. Now, when we talk about the WTO, World Trade Organization, it aims to boost transparency, predictability in international trade. WTO also aims that minimum tariffs needs to be imposed onto the international trade so that the trade freely can happen. Okay, this is the WTO's obligation. Now, this case has reached to in WTO that India is not fulfilling the WTO's obligation. They are imposing high tariffs. Now, India has justified these high tariffs. How? India says this particular thing, that India is imposing the high tariffs and it is contained in WTO Ministerial Declaration on Trade in Information Technology Products that was joined in 1997. So there is an ITA agreement. There is ITA agreement. Under this ITA agreement, India has the right that they can impose the high tariffs, they can impose the high taxes. Now, basically it has been provided that actually the member countries, they are saying that no, India doesn't have any right under the ITA agreement to tax. So it was said that ITA agreement, fine, it was adopted in 1996 and it is an arrangement through which selected WTO member countries agree to eliminate duties on IT products. So it is to eliminate the duty, okay, on IT products, but India is charging high tariffs. India actually cannot do that thing. Then secondly, India has also given the reason that why we are imposing the high tariffs. They have said this particular thing, that the commitment under the ITA are static. The commitment under the ITA are static. Now see this thing. In 1996, when this ITA was signed, at that point of a time, there were certain ICT products, there were certain technologies. So India said that at that point of a time, what technologies were there, only on those technologies we will not impose the tariff. But there are many technologies that have came after 1996. Many of the ICT products have invented after 1996. On that we can impose the taxes. We can impose the taxes. So new products that have come out of 1996, on that we can impose the taxes. What obligations we took in 1996? These are the static obligation. Okay, so India says that new technologies we will tax, but ITA, but this panel, WTO panel, has rejected this India's contention that commitments are static. This says that it will also include those products which have evolved over the time. Okay, then India says this particular thing, that actually there is Vienna Convention on the law of treaties, and Vienna Convention on the law of treaty says that if there is any error in a treaty, it will invalidate the state's consent. So India says now that actually we were not able to understand that what was basically, actually we think that into the ITA, just a minute. So India says that under the ITA, we assume that it is static, but now you are saying it is not static, it is dynamic, new technology will be included. So it is a kind of an error according to us, and therefore we are not going to adopt it. So actually what is happening, India is imposing high taxes onto the ICT technologies. You need to understand that why India does that thing. India does that particular thing because India also has the domestic industries which are competing in the ICT ecosystem. We have our domestic industries, we have our domestic ICT industries, and we want to boost this domestic manufacturing of the ICT. And so therefore India is creating this particular wall of protection. Now see, if without the taxes foreign ICT products will come in India, they will be sold at much cheaper prices if there is no taxes, and then domestic industries will be sacrificed. So therefore India has deliberately created this particular wall of tariff in order to protect the domestic manufacturing of the ICT products. Is it clear or not? So now this matter will further, basically there will be the negotiations under the dispute resolution mechanism, this matter will go. But this is the way India is moving forward. Okay, that is all guys about it. Beyond that, please don't read anything. Moving to the next article. The LSE crisis and the danger of losing without fighting. Now this article is for the GS paper number 2, international affairs, international issues. Now guys, the article, actually I'm telling you very frankly, this article is very generic. The article doesn't has any substance on which the question can be asked in the exam. But still, let me tell you that what this article is, so that your fear of missing out is actually addressed, because that actually is a very big issue in the aspirant's mind. That okay. Now, see what the article is talking about. The article is saying that around LAC, line of actual control, the dispute between India and China has increased considerably since 2020. Now, what actually has happened? Indian government and China, they are holding the commander level talks, they are holding the bilateral talks, but the confrontations have not been eased. Now, the article is saying that when we talk about basically the line of actual control around this particular region, we have the Depsang Plains. Now, Depsang Plains, in 2013, Depsang Plains were acquired by the PLA and they pitched the tents there. Then India protested and then they pulled out. Now, it has been said that at that point of a time, media was very critical that how the Chinese have come to the Depsang Plain. But now what is happening? It is being said that many of the Chinese, they have come towards the Indian side and they have taken many of many of the places that were under the Indian control, they have been taken by the China. But now media is silent. Now media is silent. Why media is silent? Now it has been said that why government is not taking any step. It has been said that the inaction, it might be because of fear. See, the article is saying that we are not raising this particular matter that the China has entered in India because we don't want to fight with China. We don't want to raise any issue with the China. But the article is saying that, see, understand this thing. Yes, China might have a bigger military, the size of military power of China might be bigger. But if we want to do any negotiations with the China, there needs to be take something and give something. And we have to take something from China if we need to give something. Now, the article is also saying that the China might be a bigger country in terms of their economic power, military power, industrial power, but at LOC, China doesn't have that much kind of an advantage. LAC, India and China are equal, and in this particular capacity, fine, we can also in this particular capacity we can also take the support from the Russia. Okay, if Russia is unable to vanquish Ukraine, Chinese president knows that China cannot military walk over the India. Fine, Russia is fighting with Ukraine and more than 1 year, Russia is not able to take over the Ukraine. But so therefore, China also knows this thing that very easily we cannot fight and win the war. So China will not have any confrontation. So therefore, India should take some part of China and should, in give and take, should settle this particular issue. This is something which has been given. Fine. Now, guys, the article is just a kind of a suggestion that has been given. Okay. Now, but at the same time, there will always be the consequences of fighting a war. Even if you see, though Russia has not able to take over the Ukraine, but still so much of damage have happened in both Ukraine and Russia. So always the way out needs to be through diplomacy. Now moving to the next article, is India as Eden's offer the apple of diluted labor law. Now this article we will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, labor issues. GS paper number 3, labor issues. Now, the article is saying that actually on the labor front, there are certain developments that have recently happened. Now, what are these developments that have happened on the labor front? Now, what are the developments that have happened on the labor front? Number one, recently Tamil Nadu government came out with the amendment in the Factory Act 1948 and said that working hours will be reduced from 8 to 12 hours. Now, this thing was criticized. Then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister withdraw this particular announcement on the Labor Day, May 1. Then recently, Apple also opened 2 of the retail stores in India. Okay. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. Apple had opened up 2 retail stores in India. Now, understand, Apple wanted to open the retail store in India since 2015. But India put a condition clearly in the front of Apple that if you want to open the retail stores in India, you need to you need to shift the manufacturing of iPhones from China to India. Only if you manufacture the iPhone in India, we will allow to open the retail store. Now understand this thing. In India till now, there was not a single Apple owned store. All the stores that you saw were the resellers. Okay, and Apple was losing a lot of money because Apple has to give commission to these resellers. Now Apple has owned their own store in India, one in Mumbai, one in Delhi. Now understand this thing, that when we have tried to attract Apple in India for manufacturing, we are also attracting many other players also for manufacturing. Now understand this thing, China is a very lucrative market. China is a very lucrative country for the manufacturers to manufacture their products, but India wants to attract them. And how India can attract them? Only by showing them the favorable labor laws that are there in India. Only by showing them the favorable labor laws that are there in India. So basically, in this particular thing, what is happening? Both the countries are relaxing the labor laws, but what impact on the labor is there? No country is thinking about that particular thing. So basically, it has been said that International Labour Organization in 1919 adopted that there will be the 8-hour working day. Okay, this particular right was achieved, but now the countries are reversing that particular. For example, Tamil Nadu wanted to increase these working hours. Now further, the article also had said this thing, that in order to attract the investment, in order to attract the manufacturers, the country, they are doing? They are weakening the labor protection architecture, they are lowering the threshold, they are squeezing the collective bargaining capacity of the trade unions. All these particular things are happening. Now in the India's labor ecosystem, it has been said that there is no social dialogue. There is no social dialogue. What is social dialogue? Bringing the labor unions, basically consulting with the labor union that what type of labor reform should be brought, what labor reform should not be brought, asking the grievances of the labor unions. So social dialogue with the labor union is not there, and the ruling parties, they don't want to discuss with the labor their welfare and all such kind of matters. Okay, which is actually not good on the labor front. Now right now India is running two very ambitious programs for increasing manufacturing in India, that is Make in India and Production Linked Incentive Scheme. Now, by this, India wants to emerge as a manufacturing hub like the China, and India is attracting the investment by the players such as the Apple, Foxconn, and in electronic sector also we are attracting more of the investments. But these investments are coming on the cost of sacrificing the labor protections, which is not a very good thing. Now, when we talk about the China has a dormitory labor regime. What is a dormitory labor regime? So there will be an establishment, labor will work there, labor will sleep there, labor will eat there. All the time labor are staying in that particular place. That is the dormitory labor regime that is there in China. Now understand this thing, this particular thing has blurred the socio-spatial boundaries between work and life. Work, personal life, professional life boundaries have been blurred, and in this particular way this goes against the human right, human welfare. And India is also trying to move in this particular direction. This particular article is saying by relaxing the labor laws, but we need to understand that labor rights are very important human rights, and these rights, they have won after so many of the years of struggle. They should not be sacrificed. And then guys, we have this article, gaming policy, tax norms need more calibration, finance minister. So basically guys, what has happened, the finance minister of India has visited Korea, has visited the South Korea. And see, actually the gaming industry, there are so much of the games, etc. Gaming industry has become so important. So it has been said that on gaming industries, we need to regularize these industries by coming out with proper tax norms. We need to have a dedicated policy for the gaming sector, and on that government is working. So very soon government will come out with a full-fledged policy with respect to the gaming sector, with respect to the taxations that will be imposed on gaming sector. So this is an assurance that has been given by the finance minister when she has visited the South Korea. But what policy actually will come, we will see when it will actually be coming out. Okay. And then the main practice question for today. So main question for today, it says, in the prioritization of favorable investment climate to compete with China, there are clear signs of scant regard for the well-being and the rights of India's workers. Analyze. So this will be a question for GS paper number 3, 10 marker question. Okay. So that is all guys about the today's session. Please do write it. So that is all guys for today. I hope that you have understood this session. With this, we come to an end to the today's session. Now, if you have liked